Welcome to the Conscious Resistance Live. My name is Derrick Broze. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. I had some thoughts on thinking about the change, the awakening, and how it's taking place over a number of generations. And I started to think about what it really means as far as a generation, whether that only applies to those of your same age, your same background, and typically that's how we think about it. Oh, you know, the World War II generation, the millennial generation, and all these different distinctions. But the way I see it, there really is only one generation, and that is the generation of those of us who see the problems in the world and are looking to find solutions, create solutions in our own lives and in our communities. And what I was pointing at here is that basically we have an opportunity that has never existed before in human history. We have the opportunity, I believe, and I manifest in my life, and I hope you do as well, the reality that we can change things. That this is not just a weekend hobby. Activism is not something we're doing while we're bored college students or whatever it is, or middle-aged, disgruntled divorcees, or whatever the situation may be. This is something that some of us have chosen to do for our lives, for our very existence, and to continue in this direction. It's to do what we're meant to do. I had somebody earlier this week ask me, why do you do all this stuff, and sort of derogatorily, why I'm an activist and why I put so much time and energy into these things, and who chose you? Who said that you were supposed to do this? And I don't know if anybody chose me, but I personally feel called to do this, and I think there are thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of others out there who also feel called to do what it is that they do, whether you write articles, whether you make memes or do a podcast, do a radio show, you interview people, whatever it is that you're doing something as a free, beautiful, independent human being. And what you are doing is contributing to the greater awakening of humanity. So it's important to recognize that this is a generation of awakened, aware human beings. And we don't necessarily all agree on everything, and that's fine, because I don't want to be around a bunch of zombies, and I hope you don't either. We're trying to create something that goes beyond just conforming to each other's ideas and conforming to what the herd thinks you should do, whether that herd is an awakened herd or not. Think for yourself. And with that line of thinking, look around you. Look around and see all the brothers and sisters you have who are a part of this, who are a piece of you. They're not separate from you, as some would have you believe. We're not separate in this. We are together in this. I just wanted to share that with you. So, yeah, welcome to the show. Today is February 16th, 2014. And yeah, this is episode 12. I'm only going to do an hour tonight because we're doing a shorter show. I'm going to try to replay last week's episode. I did a good interview with John Koppel on his experience teaching meditation in prison, and also just his experience as an activist since the Vietnam days. And we've also did an interview with JG Vibes, John Vibes of the IntelliHub and Alchemy of the Modern Renaissance on indigenous resistance, and we're going to be getting into some more of that today. But I'm working on editing that video right now. My computer's yelling at me and telling me I don't have enough space, but we'll get that up soon enough. And yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. You can find more about us, of course, on Facebook under The Conscious Resistance. You can find the network at theconsciousresistance.com. You can find us on Twitter at TheConsciousRN. And I want to give a shout out real quick before we get into everything to our partners who are broadcasting this, simulcasting this, the Truth Broadcasting Network, Freedom Phalanx Radio Network. You can hear the show, the audio version, every Sunday morning from 9 to 11. You can hear it Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday from 9 to 11 a.m. I believe that's Eastern Time. Also, big shout out to Mike and Kristan from the Rundown Live. They're also partners and friends with us, and they have helped us out. If you want to listen through your cell phone, through the TuneIn app, you can listen under The Rundown Live. Search that, The Rundown Live, and you can find the show. And of course, thank you to everyone at Liberty Movement Radio and Neil at Uncorporate Media. I believe that's everyone that we're partnering up with so far. But we're continuing to grow. There's some developments happening in the Conscious Resistance Network world, TCRN. We've got more articles this week. Please check those out under the news tab at theconsciousresistance.com. Thank you to Bruce King, who is our host of Wednesday night's show, Lessons in Consciousness, for his article contributions. Some good stuff dealing with everything from predictive dreaming to premonitions to what reality is itself. Bruce covers a lot of good things that I'm totally interested in. There's also another one that was posted by our other writer, Rahul, who posted The Evolution of Self, that I think is definitely worth your time, and looking into how our Western mindset influences the version of ourself that we are aware of or choose to be aware of. And lastly, an article just posted a couple hours ago from Sam Wagner, also of TCRN, called Why We Occupy. And the reason I'm excited for that one is because I don't necessarily consider myself to be an occupier. I went to the Occupy Houston movement from day one, and the Houston Freethinkers worked with them in the very beginning. We also worked with others around the country to launch Occupy the Fed and things like that. So there was crossover, there's a lot of common ground, and that's what Sam focuses on, because he's saying basically why we occupy. We all had different reasons to occupy, to do these actions, and now what is remaining of Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Minneapolis, Occupy Houston, all these different factions, is basically everyone went into new projects, created new things, and that's what we've seen here in Houston. The people who stayed active, a lot of them came and got involved with the Houston Freethinkers. Others, they began occupying homes and trying to reclaim houses through squatters' rights and stuff like that. And others got more involved with Food Not Bombs, feeding the homeless. Just tons of new projects were created. And Sam's basically, given a call to action how we should focus on those things instead of some of these silly differences that seem to be so important and many discussions. And I think that's a great message. So please check that out at theconsciousresistance.com. As always. Now, lots of stuff that I want to talk about in our short time. Of course, we're going to be playing 4 music videos. I appreciate those of you who are here tuned in before the show to check out the music videos. And as always, you can vote for your favorite artists of the night on the Music Spotlight page. So if you're an independent artist, musician of any kind, you've got a video or you know somebody who is and you want to get it out there, please send it over to us, because we would love to help share that information and grow this message. So let's start off with some good news, shall we? We've got a few more minutes and we're going to dive into that first music video. And this is just a quick update, positive thing, because if you weren't aware, there are some signs of hope. There are some signs of real change. There are some signs of people rebelling against the system and standing up and things like that. Okay, cool. So if one of these is international lawmakers, those who are calling themselves legislators against the TPP. If you go to, what is the website? Let me see if I get the site right here. The site is, legislators, TPP MPs for Transparency. On February 11th, lawmakers from a number of countries involved in the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations voiced their opposition to the secrecy surrounding the agreement. Now, if you're a fan of my show or just pay attention to the TPP, then I don't have to tell you that there's been secrecy around this document since the very beginning, and only because of the work of WikiLeaks and others have we been able to find out information on this. So this is a step forward. Although President Obama in this country would like to pass the bill regardless, and Congress is trying to fast track, internationally, legislators from Australia, Canada, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand are pushing back, and Peru, don't forget about Peru, are seeking the release of the text of the TPP before it was signed. In 2009, the participating countries agreed that the documents would not be released until after negotiations were done, and that they would remain secret for 4 years. Think about this, guys. We have to understand that the people in power, that they work in darkness, right? I mean, if you're doing something positive, then why do you have to hide it, right? Why do you have to work? If you're signing an agreement that is truly going to benefit the masses and create a change for the betterment of all people, then there's no need to keep it secret. And there's definitely no need to say this is going to remain secret for 4 years after we sign this deal. So thankfully, some of the legislators in these countries, and you'll notice I didn't say the United States, because none of the legislators in the United States signed on to this, but there has been Senate pushback on the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. If you're unaware, you're hearing about this for the first time, guys, do yourself a favor, go research the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF.org, I believe, they have lots of good information on that, so check that out. And I'm going to get Trip to post the stories in the chat room for you guys. I'm posting that one to you right now, man, so you can follow along, check the script. And so the lesson here being, hey, good news does happen. The TPP is probably not going to pass the way that most were worried about it, and maybe it's because we've been rallying, maybe it's because people all over the internet have been doing something about it. I'm not sure. But what we do know is that there's also the TTIP, there's the CAFTA, there's NAFTA, there's the ACTA, there's other 4-letter, 5-letter acronyms you have to worry about. The alphabet soup, that's what they are. The FBI, CIA, ACTA, TPP, SOPA, whatever. There's more of them. You have to remain vigilant because the battle's not over yet. But there are good things happening. We're going to cut to this next song. This is one of our most recent artist, Rag and Bone Man, pretty cool. Somebody sent this to me, and we'll be back after this, so check it out. You're watching the Conscious Resistance Live. My name's Derrick Broze.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been a ruin for many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans. Now the only thing a gambler needs is his suitcase and his trunk. And the only time that he's satisfied is when he's all drunk.
I pour another shot of sorrow in a dirty chip tumbler as demons dance in the smoke blown from tired lungs. Daddy was a drinker, I learned from the best, so it's really no surprise to see what I've become. Young dreams fade to black, but I thought you believed in me. I guess I should have took the time to tell you what you mean to me. I never thought that we would fall apart so easily, as a double rum sucks the color out the scenery.
Oh, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. Now I got one foot on the platform and the other on the train. And I'm going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain.
Yeah. Love is the devil in a short skirt, with lips like fire in a razor sharp tongue. The only one who ever made it make sense. Now my breath stink of liquor and it's made my heart numb. The house of the rising sun. My head's getting weary and my time is done. I know I've done wrong sometimes, but just remember me for the songs I've sung.
There's a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been a ruin for many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
Welcome back to the Conscious Resistance Live. That was Rag and Bone Man. Do you like that one? It's pretty cool. Somebody sent that to me. I think it's pretty cool. Let me get this a little bit. I can see my head. You see me now?
Yeah.
Got it. It's good. Next story I want to talk to you about. Last week, how long did I talk to you for about license plate readers? Y'all remember that story? I wrote it for Activist Post. ALPRs, automatic license plate readers, and basically these pose a new danger to your security, and they are the latest threat when it comes to surveillance. These machines can be installed on police cars, they can be installed on light poles. They're already in Los Angeles Police Department, where through FOIA requests a number of agencies are trying to find out exactly what's happening over there, but we're getting limited information, right? How long are they storing this information for? Where does the information go? Do they need a warrant to be cataloging your license plate and putting you on what are known as hot lists, where an officer during his shift can just get notified when any vehicle's around? So that means, say an officer believes his wife is cheating on him, he can tag her car while he's on his shift through a hot list and be notified everywhere she goes. Things like that. So obviously you can say this is going to help catch criminals though, right? If there's known drug offenders and sex offenders and crazies out there, then you just tag their cars and we'll be able to see them wherever they go. But again, that's using the argument of fear to try to justify taking away our liberties, and we ain't buying it. So in reaction to this pushback against license plate readers, a number of states pushing legislation to get rid of them, we now see the actual industry pushing back and fighting for their First Amendment rights, because that's right, corporations have First Amendment rights apparently. As a number of states consider laws related to surveillance by drones and cameras, the surveillance industry is pushing back itself. Digital Recognition Network Incorporated of Fort Worth here in Texas has sued the Utah state's government over a new law designed to protect privacy. The company makes license plate readers that scan tags of passing vehicles. They're attempting to argue that Utah's new state ban on license plate readers infringes on the company's First Amendment right to collect and disseminate information. They're basically trying to give the argument that they're a journalist, right? That's what they're saying there. Oh, we have a First Amendment right to collect and disseminate information, even if that is, metadata from your car, and put it out there. And hey, I'm not calling for a government ban. I'm not really saying that's the solution. Technology is here. It's not really going anywhere. It's going to play a big role in our future and how we evolve, how we move towards freedom. But there does seem to be, a fine line in finding that freedom and finding security. I don't know if, like, when I talk to people when I'm on the streets and I ask them about surveillance, for example, earlier this past Monday we went out for the Day We Fight Back, February 11th, 1 year and 1 month after the death of activist Aaron Swartz. International Day of Action Against Surveillance. I even heard there was stuff going on in Denmark. Me and about 6 or 7 other people went down to the streets of Houston and we got some video, we passed out some flyers, we talked to some people, asked them if they've heard of Edward Snowden, if they know anything about surveillance, and it was a good time. We had a lot of good conversations. But what I don't understand is when I talk to certain people, how they just have this intrinsic fear built into them, this worry that, like, well, what are we going to do, without the cameras, and, if those cameras weren't there, we wouldn't be safe. But the cameras, at least in Houston, have only been there for about 2 years, and they were given to us through Department of Homeland Security, federal funding, and I believe we were safe before then. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we were all just savages until the government came along. But that is a myth they're trying to sell you that you shouldn't buy into, because I promise you, what you and I, as free human beings, are capable of is much more than just simply violence. Yes, we have a history of violence, and yes, that violence exists, and some would argue because of that we should live the rest of our lives in fear that, violence is going to be the only way the human species knows how to live. But I believe that you and I, and everyone else out there, are a part of something new, something different, something that we choose to create. And this is why, for me, the power of manifestation, the power of meditation, the power of creative visualization, the power of positive affirmation, these things, these tools that go unseen by many activists, they just stay in the physical plane of posting articles and doing all those things, which are very, very important and definitely valuable and an important tool and necessary to create change. But what about your soul? What about feeding your soul? What about also harnessing the power of your mind and the power of you as a limitless being? What about, instead of just believing that things are going to get better and just waiting for somebody else to do it, or being apathetic and ignorant and just wanting it all to go away, or beating your head against the wall and protesting in front of a city council and hoping that they're going to make changes? How about while you're doing those things, you also go out into the streets and you talk about creating new ideas, you talk about putting these things into action. Now, what I mean to say is, for me, I understand that I can manifest things with my mind. Think about that. Think about that for a minute. Did I really say that? Yes, I did. Guess what? You can too. One of the greatest tools we have is this thing up here, or wherever consciousness is contained. This tool that we have while we're here in this physical matrix. And once you understand that you can create whatever perception you want, I mean, yeah, we can't wish away the government today or tomorrow, but you can choose to see the world in a way that brings you freedom, instead of waking up every single day and be like, God, here's another day full of oppression and taxes, and what is the saying? Only 2 things are certain in life, taxes and death, right? What a shitty saying. What a shitty saying. Like, why accept that? Yes, death is inevitable, and death is also a beautiful thing, and only in Western culture have we really tried so hard to hide it away, put people in the dirt, have funerals that are all sad instead of celebrating life. But why accept taxes? Why accept that, yeah, the political system's just corrupt, that's just how life is, so there's nothing I can do about it, I'm just going to ride with it, man. You go ahead and do your thing. Well, guess what? I'm going to do my thing, I'm going to create change, I'm going to write articles, I'm going to post memes, I'm going to have conversations, and then I'm going to wake up every morning, and then I'm going to think in my mind, this is a beautiful freaking day, and I can do whatever I want with it. And then I'm going to go have a conversation with somebody else, and I'm going to smile. to them, and then I'm going to say, how are you doing? Guess what? Did you know that you're a free, beautiful, independent human being? You're capable of doing anything in the world that you possibly can dream of? Did you ever think about that? No, maybe they didn't. Maybe they did, and they were just looking for you to have that conversation, to spark it in their mind, and then come together, and the two of you create something even more beautiful. And that, echoes out and ripples out all over the universe. And I'm telling you, I've seen it for the past 4 years of my small, short time here on this planet, and others much, much more wise than I, much, much more experienced than I, have seen it as well and passed that information on to me. So you may ask yourself, what does all this crazy rambling have to do with manifestation? The power of manifestation has played a huge role in my life. As I said, you start with your words, you start with your thoughts, your words, your actions, your behaviors, and your destiny. We talked about this in the Agitators of the Agora video, the importance of being consistent with your principles. And if your principles are libertarian, your principles are socialist, or whatever they are, just be consistent in them. Be who you are consistently. Don't hide that. And also, don't just speak about it, live it. Live your words every day. Speak your mind, speak them from your mind, put those words into action, and create something new. That's what we're working on here. And if you do that, every single day, I promise you're going to begin to see those changes in your life. You'll see them literally manifest, and all of a sudden you'll be looking back and be like, wait, I remember about 2 months ago where I had a conversation with this crazy guy, and he told me I could do whatever I wanted. And now I'm looking around, and everything I've been writing on the pieces of paper and putting up on my wall to remind me, and everything I've been dreaming about and thinking about and meditating on and just saying, please bring this to me, and then actively taking steps, because that's the thing, is you can't passively just sit, universe, please bring me everything I ever wanted. It's not going to work that way. But you can meditate on it, give yourself some clarity of thought. You can reinforce it in your mental state of mind, because we talked about last week about the limiting thoughts that we have, and I'm going to be playing that video again, giving yourself permission to be free. We talked about those limiting thoughts and how those are really what keep us trapped into this paradigm, right? I mean, this is what's keeping us stuck in a state of mind where they are in control. They're our leaders. They're the Illuminati. They're the mainstream media, all this stuff. Well, guess what? They're the old stream media. Nobody leads me, and nobody leads you. So the second you decide to live that reality and not even repeat these words, because it's conscious language, your language can be just as conscious as your thoughts. So when my buddy here sits here and tells me I have ADD, I'm too stupid to do this, or like I often say to myself, God, that was retarded, why did you do that? Then I'll stop and be like, wait, was that really retarded, or am I just that insecure? And I'm a little insecure, like many of you out there. But that's how we can work through those things, is if we start to focus on those deeper issues, those insecurities, those doubts, those fears, and all those things, those hang-ups that we have, then I believe we're going to really create change. Until then, we're just hacking at the trees, we're not striking the root. And I mean that in all senses. Yeah, maybe you've come to the philosophy that you believe outlines the way you see the world, and you're able to understand now. You see, okay, the leaders do this, they do this, but if I follow my principles in this way, then I can be consistent in this, and I spread this message. Yeah, but guess what? You might still be all fucked up inside because your daddy slapped you around or something like that, or because you never got a first date in high school, or whatever it may be, whatever your weird hang-ups are. Somebody poured milk on your head. That happened to me one time. And, things like that, until you let go of those things. And sometimes things affect us, often things affect us without us consciously thinking about them every day. I'm not saying every single day you're like, God, my life's so miserable, I hate this, and thinking about those pains. But if you stop and become more self-aware, and the more you study those things, you will see, be like, wow, okay, so the reason I have trouble trusting people is because of this. And you can sort of trace back and be like, wow, damn, so that's totally affecting my relationship. That's keeping me from being free. I'm looking around and there's no government, there's no police beating me, there's no surveillance cameras threatening me, but for some reason, I'm still not happy. I'm still not free. And that's because you didn't go deep enough. So go as deep as you can in your own mind, in your own time. Of course, you have the freedom, as always, to do or not do so. So don't take me for an authority on that. Just sharing my experience with you and hoping that in some way it resonates with you, and if it doesn't resonate with you, then share your story with me. We're going to cut to another music video. I believe we've got Jay Soley coming on. Is that who we got next?
Yeah.
Jay Soley. It's my friend originally from Dallas, Texas, then went out to LA, spent some time with KRS-One, and now he's doing his thing in Nashville. He'll be releasing some new music, and this is just a sample of what he can do. So check it out. Remember, you can vote for your favorite after the show at theconsciousresistance.com. Be right back.
America, where all men are created equal.
the people. That's kinda deceitful, cause Bush's economics were the fall of the eagle. A lobbyist is calling, so we're bombing your people. Saddam and Osama bin Laden are the bottom of the bottom, and I ain't stopping till I got them where we need to. So we applaud Obama when he promised that the problems will be gone by tomorrow, but the problems are equal. But at the top of all of this is neither of these two. Lincoln said in politics the highest offices are not the ones making laws, it's the ones making profits. Wall Street monsters, Bilderberg evil. Bush and Obama are the people they speak through. We're just caught up in following, walking into our own slaughter. American sheeple, better wake up or the wolves will eat you. Stalin, Mussolini, Nazi sequel. FEMA death camps where the police will beat you. It's for protection, nothing less than peaceful. And a one world government is best for the people, with a one world currency injected through a needle. And there's no sense running cause the government can see you. I don't believe you, your propaganda see-through. Punishment is coming, got me running to a steeple. See-through to the top. Bush was high when he signed the Patriot Act. He took the Constitution, there's no taking it back. Tried to scare us with the Arabics, they're crazy, they're back. Turn up the threat color on the terrorist alert flag. Once they're all scared, they can't say that it's bad when I take away their rights and sign the Patriot Act. Shh. Attention sheeple, for your safety you're tapped. You had the right to privacy, we're taking it back. So you can get locked up just for taking a crap. And if you got Glocks, they can be majorly taxed. Then Obama said that's dangerous, I'm changing it back. The only change that he's had is that he's changing his facts. It's like the nation is trapped, we need to take the shit back. It's like we're breaking our back, they keep taking our cash. Yeah, and it's just making them laugh. Banks fail, so we bail them out, saving their ass as they lay back lazy and fat, attacking Iraq. Back in Afghanistan, what happened to that? This ain't capture the flag, they're getting captured and stabbed. What changes Barack if Bernanke is back? He acts sad after the fact, cause he's mastered the craft of masking the fact that he's having a chat with a G8. New world order, better make it sell. Take the oil spill and make legislative hell. The only way to stop it is to educate yourselves.
How many times have you thought of a new idea, a new project, something that excites you, only to later find it smashed to pieces by a negative voice, whether that's coming from peers, parents, others in the community, or often your own self? How many times have you decided you wanted to branch out and to go to a party or go to a part of town that you've never been and to try to meet new people, or just venture outside of your comfort zone, only to find yourself limited once again by doubt, fear, insecurities, things like this? I wanted to talk a little bit about this today, about allowing yourself to be you, allowing yourself to be happy, and allowing yourself to be free. So what do I mean when I say allowing yourself? What am I really saying here? What I'm talking about is the idea that each of us wake up every day, we make conscious decisions, we decide what we want to eat, where we're going to go, who we're going to hang out, and we decide how we're going to spend our valued time. And it's just as easy as we make those decisions, we can make decisions about being happy and about choosing to be free. It's 2014 now, and the awakening has continued to grow around planet Earth. And this year there seems to be quite a bit of activists who I've talked to who see 2014 as a year of gain, that we're going to make huge strides this year, that projects are being put into place, coalitions are being formed, and things are becoming more cohesive. So as we're becoming more cohesive, we have to take time to recognize that we are the masters of our own domain, we are the deciders of our fate, and we control whether or not we are free. And I think more people have begun to realize these things, which is why we have this sense of cohesiveness, this sense of gain, because all of a sudden we're turning around and realizing, wait, these people, the Illuminati, the New World Order, ruling class, elite, the state, whatever you want to call them, that they are ultimately powerless, and that each of us as individuals have the power. So this idea came to me through, in Houston, running around with various spiritual circles, self-help circles, and the idea is basically, you have to give yourself permission to be happy, to be free. So some of you out there are saying, well, why do I need to give myself permission? You sound like a statist. I have to give myself permission in order to be free, to be happy. What exactly does that mean? What I mean is, often when we try to reach out to others and try to launch new projects, or we try to just be ourselves, we'll get this self-talk, this negative, limiting, doubting voice that will tell us, don't do that, don't bother, don't try, don't even take the first step towards a new adventure. So we find ourselves in what is called learned helplessness, where after a while our brains, our minds, we become conditioned to this self-talk. Now I'm going to give you an example from my own life. 10 years or so ago, I was very depressed. I tried to kill myself a couple of times, and I realized over the years that the reason I was feeling so down, the reason I was so depressed and was lost and easily manipulated by the state and not realizing my own power was because of that self-doubt. I've had this voice that stayed with me my entire life that would always pop up every time I started to feel happiness, or every time I wanted to go out and do new things, that would offer all kinds of reasons why I shouldn't pursue this path and remind me of how silly I was, how nobody was going to listen to anything I had to say, and I might as well not bother. There's no reason to go out there and try to do something new, and things like that. So after hearing this voice, and we all have a different voice, I imagine, but after hearing this self-talk, over and over, this became my reality. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions become your destiny. So if I'm starting off with negative, limiting thoughts and ideas, that becomes my reality. And then I speak from that point, I act from that point, and I behave from that point, and my destiny is headed towards that direction, or it was headed in that direction. So let me give you a more recent example. The other day I'm in the store, and I'm just walking through the grocery store, perusing the aisles, all up in my own head, and I started to giggle and laugh out loud for something that popped into my head, and there was another person down the aisle, and I caught myself. I felt really insecure. I was like, oh, shut up, and I told myself to shut up and just stop being so silly or something like that, but then instantly caught myself and said, well, why do I need to be quiet? Why should I not laugh? And I analyzed it. I sat there in the aisle of the grocery store and analyzed it for a second and thought, well, I guess I'm afraid of what this other person down the aisle is going to think, or I'm worried about how others will perceive me. But at that moment I realized, what? It doesn't matter. I have to give myself permission to be happy, to be myself. And so I did that. I said, what? I had this one-on-one conversation with myself and said, no, I'm happy, and I'm going to express that. I give myself permission to be happy, to be myself. And if you understand that happiness and freedom are completely connected, that whether you have a certain level of freedom or not, if you're not happy inside, if you're not free in the mental sense, then you truly are wearing chains and you truly are caged. So recognizing this, the first step towards truly being free then is to give yourself that permission. Try it out next time you have a doubtful, negative, limiting thought. And these things creep in from time to time. As I said, we learn to accept them. We learn that voice that pops in and says, oh no, don't go do that, just stay home, or it discourages you from trying new things, because our minds and our bodies, we get used to routine, and it's very often difficult to break us from those routines. And it takes a conscious, empowered effort to do that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that take time every day to remind yourself and to give yourself permission to be free, to be you, and to be happy, because guess what? You are free. If you want to follow me and my work, you can find me on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below and look for more videos. As always, if you can hear this, you are the resistance. Welcome back to the Conscious Resistance Live. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was a video I did last week called Give Yourself Permission to Be Free. You can find that at youtube.com/Derrick Broze Live Free, I believe. Yeah, on my personal YouTube channel. So thank you guys for that, and yeah, give yourself permission to be free because no one else will. I want to talk to you briefly about music and the role that music has to play in evolution, the revolution, moving forward. Yesterday I wrote an article for the Anti-Media titled, I don't remember what it's titled, but it was about the United We Stand Festival, and this festival is taking place in Los Angeles, California on May 10th, 2013. Fix that a little bit. And it's going to be featuring Wu-Tang Clan, Mortal Technique, Public Enemy, also Ben Swan, Amberline, a number of well-known activists, journalists, musicians, actors coming together behind a common message, which is not just, I would say, libertarian, but is one of freedom in general. There's some people who are working to reform voting, others who are working to just completely destroy this corrupt system, but there will be a lot to learn. And while I was writing this article, it really got me thinking about the importance of these type of events. Now, here in Houston, I'm a promoter and booker under the name Visionary Noise. Next Saturday, we have our biggest free festival that we do every few months called For the Community. This features 45 bands from all over, fire spinners, dancing, all kinds of cool stuff, and a lot of promotion of free thinking ideas. We make sure every single person that comes through here knows that this is a Houston Freethinkers event and what we're about and what we're trying to build, which is a conscious community that can have fun and can put on music events and can still do good things. So I already understand how that plays a role in my personal life, and in looking at the United We Stand Festival, I'm predicting a trend where activism and music are going to continue to align. And of course, revolution and music, it just seemed to go hand in hand. Think about Rage Against the Machine and all the bands you grew up loving that taught you how to be a rebel, or made you feel like you were rebelling against the government even if you never were. Those bands play an important part, and that music plays an important part in all of our evolution as a human. And looking back, I know for me personally, I can see different types of music and different artists who definitely influenced me to think the way that I do now, or at least opened the doors for me so I could go further. And there will never be a true revolution and true evolution without music. Ron Paul is famous for saying, if you want a real revolution, you got to have the youth and you got to have music. And I think that's 100% right because, again, the youth can mean any type of age. Generation can be anyone. It means that you're hearing these words right now and you're choosing to do something about it. Then you're a part of this. All right, this isn't some sort of elitist thing that only the youth are awake or things like that. Everyone has the opportunity to be awake, and everyone has the opportunity to enjoy music, and that's why it's so powerful. Because music has been around since before we have recorded history. People picked up some rocks. I'm sure there's some cavemen beating on rocks, and then dang, this sounds kind of cool, and just start going with it. You know what I mean? Then they killed a big animal and they threw skin on a trunk, and there you go. You got a drum. Look at this one. Like that. That's a drum. And music was born, right? Music is in our soul, our heartbeat. It's there. It's waiting for us to come out and just be alive and to take the power and the energy of that music and to use it with activism, with awareness. So I'm definitely seeing a trend towards this, and I'm going to do everything I can as a music lover, as a promoter, as an activist to help this happen, to help music events like this come together. Because you've heard me say it before, I'm tired of the celebritarian, liberty, whatever events. I don't care anymore. I'm glad we all think the same. That's cool. But let's go meet some new people. Let's be challenged. Let's not just put ourselves in our little, our own little bubbles and never challenge ourselves, never reach outside there, because that's how we found each other, right? We were looking for familiar faces, familiar ideas outside of this thing that didn't feel right. But let's not box ourselves in again, and that's, for me, I've been growing tired of those type of events. I am excited, though, I will say, to see the Liberty Fest next year featuring only women, which I think is pretty cool because there are a lot of beautiful, minded, and talented, well-spoken, well-written women out there who deserve to be heard. And so that's a good move. Good move on your part, Liberty Fest. But other than that, I'm tired of going to the same events and seeing friends I already know now. Like we're all friends, right? Why do I want to pay money to hear you speak? Why do I want to pay $10 a drink to go? You know what I mean? Like, why don't we just come hang out? I'm more of a fan of the more grassroots, underground community type thing. So let's get together, let's have a discussion, those type of things. But I try to keep myself in check in those ways. So I want to build a community that has music, that understands the passion that can be created through music. When you can get people moving through music, in both good and bad ways, because we all understand the power of propaganda, the power that the old stream has through their music and the way they try to influence the youth and all culture really, to be apathetic, to party, to twerk all day, to do things like this, right? Well, how about using music for the opposite? Yeah, that's a new idea. Cool. Well, that's what we're working on. So I just wanted to share that with you a little bit, and hopefully you understand the importance of music and your evolution, which is why we feature music on this show, Independent Artists. That was a nice segue, wasn't it? This is Sun Salutation. We'll be right back.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic process. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizen can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Now from on top of the world we saw everything. Oh, you got what you want, but you don't got a thing. And with a little bit of help just from above, you got what you thought was never-ending love. But before it's all gone, you gotta let it run, let it run. Woo! When we give up what we want and we're taking what we need, and I can't push it all aside. Get lost in your dreams, don't wanna be the reason that it all fell apart. Broken hearted right there from the start when we move just a little bit more. Could we complain? Hell yeah, but you know that it never did any good. And from a brighter side of a newfound plan, and when it fell from what you thought was coming out of your hands, and when it's time to go, yeah, just know the other side is always where I go. When we look away, we get nothing done. And I know I'm not the only one. Look away and get nothing done. And we all know their war will never be won. Now gather around, children, it's story time. Do you really want to know who controls the minds of the world? The bankers, the Bilderberg group. The government needs scapegoats for crimes they do. And we watched as the bullets went through, because they killed JFK and Martin Luther too. It's crazy today to watch the towers fall. Conspiracy in it all. When we give up what we want and we're taking what we need, and I can't push it all aside and get lost in your dreams. I don't wanna be the reason that it all fell apart. Open your mind, there was your heart. When we look away, we get nothing done. And I know I'm not the only one. Look away and get nothing done. And we all know their war will never be won. I once knew a man and he stood for a cause. They chopped his legs off just to watch him fall. And with a little bit better view of the world, he realized that you could say everything and still say nothing at all. When we give up what we want and then we're taking what we need, and I can push it all aside and get lost in your dreams. I don't wanna be the reason that it all fell apart. It'll never be forgiven what we got it from the start. But when we give up what we want, taking what we need, I can push it all aside. Lost in your dreams, don't wanna be the reason that it all fell apart. Open your mind, then watch your heart when we look away. We get nothing done. And I know I'm not the only one. Look away and get nothing done. And I know I'm not the only one. When we look away, look away, look away. Watch the bottom fall out.
Welcome back to the Conscious Resistance Live. That was Sun Salutations, friends from San Marcos, Texas. Check them out. So far we played Jay Soli, we've played Rag and Bone Man, we've played Jay Soli. We still have one more cool one coming for you. And again, I want to remind you guys, if you'd like to send any music into the show, you can send it to my email, dbroze@thehoustonfreethinkers.com or derrick@theconsciousresistance.com. You can send it to us through Facebook, whatever. We communicate all kinds of ways. We are savvy like that. Two more stories I want to cover that are important, I think, for you to know. One's a bit more positive, so we'll save that for the last few moments because that's how we like to do things. The next one, though, deals with the ongoing myth, the lie, of Osama bin Laden and his purported death at the hands of SEAL Team 6 in May of 2011. May 11th, 2011, I believe is the date. And I've written about this a number of times. If you follow my work on IntelliHub and other places, look up an article called "The Osama bin Laden Myth Crumbles as SEAL Team 6 Speaks Out" or something like that, to sort of catch up on the whole story if you don't know much behind it. Osama bin Laden, the accused, assumed perpetrator of the 9/11 attacks, the head of Al-Qaeda, things like that, has been pursued the world over until our great leader, Obama, he saved us from the evil man, the big bad man, Osama bin Laden. He saved us all, ensuring himself a second victory, of course. Timely, isn't that? And after that happened, all of a sudden things start going wrong. Some of the members of SEAL Team 6, they crashed in a helicopter where they were accused, the military was accused of sending them right into the open where the Taliban could take them down. Then they make a funny little movie called Zero Dark 30, detailing how they used torture to get to Osama bin Laden. This is all, of course, meant to cement into your head, it's okay, torture does work. If you want to see a real-life example of this, go to youtube.com/HoustonFreeThinkers, look up a video called "Do Americans Support Torture?" where we went outside of the theater after we watched the movie and asked people, like, oh, so what do you think about this? And yeah, a lot of people say, well, I guess if it's if it keeps us safe or this and that. They hadn't heard of Bradley Manning. They had never heard of the fact that in 2001, Pakistan Observer reported that Osama bin Laden died in November and was buried by his fighters with a non-marked grave, which is of the tradition that he comes from. They didn't read the Fox News or the London reports several times throughout the years after 9/11 that also reported that Osama bin Laden died. They apparently didn't listen to other generals and members of the government when they said, we believe he's already dead and they're waiting for a politically opportune moment to bring his body out on ice. Bingo, Obama wins a second term. They obviously didn't listen to the other members of SEAL Team 6 who called the shooter, which is the name they give for the anonymous member of SEAL Team 6 who's giving interviews, they called the shooter's story complete bullshit. My guess is the government made up the shooter in order to perpetuate their lie around. And now, more, damaging evidence towards the government's counter-narrative. Well, You know the story. They said they killed him. They dumped his body at sea, which was according to tradition. That later found out to be a lie. They released one tiny image that many people suspect was heavily doctored through Photoshop. And since then, we've seen none of these supposed pictures that were taken of his body. None of the pictures of the inside of his compound. None of these things. There's Pakistani neighbors who say, no, that wasn't Osama bin Laden. That was somebody else that got killed there. We're pretty sure we would know if Osama bin Laden was living next to us. And all kinds of different things, at the very least, should create some kind of doubt in your mind. To be like, why does the government want me to believe this? Why does the government want me to believe in the myth of this man? Well, since 2001, and really since even before then, when he was first given the weapons and given the training by the United States government, Osama bin Laden and the bin Laden family, Saudi royalty, have been hand in hand with not only the Bushes, but a number of members of the United States government. And if you thought the days of kings and queens were over, they've just gone to the background. They're still there. They're still playing a role. That's why after 9/11, all the people connected to the 9/11 attacks that were Saudi citizens were let go. Yeah, because we didn't want to have any issues with our Saudi partner, the royalty. We didn't want to piss off the king and queen over there. And we definitely didn't want to piss off the powerful bin Laden family. So some people suspect either his death was faked long ago, so that he could escape and live a life of luxury in his country where he'll forever be allowed to just do his thing, or he was killed a while back and they're just now using it. So the latest information in this saga: the legal watchdog group Judicial Watch has obtained an email detailing the destruction of photos of Osama bin Laden's body after his death. This email came through a Freedom of Information Act request and shows that on May 13, 2011, Admiral William McRaven, who was the head of U.S. Special Operations Command, if you don't know about SOCOM, detailed in Jeremy Scahill's book and movie The Dirty War, they are basically the private mercenaries of the military. They're special forces that are allowed to kill and do whatever they want. So Admiral William McRaven was the head of them at the time of Osama bin Laden's death, and he told military officers in an email to send the photos to the CIA or to destroy them. On May 4th, 2011, the Associated Press requested the documents related to bin Laden's death, and they were told that they had been assigned for processing. But in reality, the Admiral was telling everyone to delete all these files, whatever files, if they do exist. So again, this Judicial Watch FOIA request shows that possibly some pictures exist. Maybe they were faked, and they just told people, oh yeah, we have all these pictures, and they deleted them. I don't know, but what it does show is at the very least they are trying to keep whatever pictures they are, whether they're of Osama bin Laden or somebody else. They are definitely trying to keep those down. The United States government maintains that Osama bin Laden was murdered on May 2nd, 2011 in a compound in Pakistan. But of course, since his death, a number of organizations have sought proof of the raid, the death, and the burial at sea, and so far have been unable to get solid proof. And you would think that the perpetrator of the biggest crime on American soil in history, that they would have dragged his body through the streets. I mean, right? We got to see Saddam get hung on TV. Where's my bloody murder? I want justice. Give me my vengeance, America. I want Osama bin Laden's head on my dinner table so we can pray to it every night as we pray to the baby Jesus and wave to our American flag. Things like that. But we didn't get it, did we? We didn't get it. I didn't get mine. Did you? No, we didn't. Instead, we got a package of lies. We got a story from the shooter and a bunch of other BS. And yes, it is BS. Where's the justice? Because this is the other thing. Let's just get rid of all my nonsense about conspiracies, right? Okay, Osama bin Laden did 9/11, right? Okay, where's the trial at? What happened to the country, the nation that believed in human rights and giving everyone the ability to have a fair, speedy trial, things like that, right? Well, that's the whole reason 9/11 was pushed in the way it is, to cement into your mind, into your psyche, that there's this one event that is unquestionable. There's this one event that we can allow injustices to happen like never before. There's this one event that if you don't ever want it to happen again, you must let us survey your phones. You must let us wiretap your calls. You must let us turn on your cell phones remotely and your Skype cameras remotely. And you must let us monitor all your metadata and all these different things. Why? Because you don't want another 9/11, do you? Right? No? 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 Because Taliban are waiting to kill you. The Al-Qaeda is trying to kill you. They're in all the countries, right? This is the type of thinking that they're pushing on us. They being the old stream media and their corporate and governmental partners. So I know I'm kind of speaking here in jest, but in reality, this is an important situation because understanding 9/11, understanding the role that Osama bin Laden has played and keeping you you and I both, because at different points I'm sure we did believe it. I know that whenever they first started dropping bombs on Iraq, I was like, yeah, get this bad guy, like, just whatever, do it, whatever. I was like, whoa, this is crazy, they're showing this on TV, it's like a movie. I get to watch bombs drop on people. I never even thought about that. It's weird. Now looking back, I don't think I was conscious of like, wait, that means people are dying right now. But it's a reality that a lot of us live with, a lot of us fought in and come back and try to make change. So understanding the narrative of 9/11, understanding the lies based around Osama bin Laden can help set your mind free in a lot of different ways. It can help bring you to a place of better understanding of how that one operation, and I have a tendency to believe that 9/11 was a military operation of some sort and a psychological operation. And do your own research, look into the global consciousness and how 9/11 affected that. If you've never spent any time looking at that, there's measurable effects before and after of how 9/11 affected us on a level. They talk about when JFK was assassinated, when that was broadcasted over television and people watching it, people went out to the streets and started puking and throwing up because, for one, the type of violence that we see on a Saturday morning cartoon these days is nothing, it's way beyond what they used to see. So to us, if we saw a TV show where somebody got their head blown off, none of us would really bat an eye, right? But at that time, the violence wasn't in your face. We weren't as desensitized. So to see the president, and a lot of people had faith and believed in Kennedy, to see this young man that they thought, similar to Obama, was going to make change, to see his head splattered and his skull just go all over his wife live on national television, it affected people. I mean, people were puking, people were crying. It's a powerful thing to see. And the same way, those attacks, watching those videos over and over, boom, boom, and Osama bin Laden, Osama bin Laden, Osama bin Laden, terror, terror, terror. It has an effect on you. We talked about this earlier, the power of your thought and to shape your reality. So if your reality is constant news stream, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, terror, fear, this and that, you might be in a state of anxiety constantly without realizing it and wondering why. Wait, why is my jaw tight and clenched all the time? I constantly feel myself doing that, and I have to remind myself, like, wait, let your jaw go, just let it hang. And it's relaxing. But think about that. I really want you to do that. Later on, you're just going to be chilling, hanging out. You're going to think you're relaxed. You're getting high. You're hanging out with your girl. You're watching a movie. And then all of a sudden, you notice your freaking toes are clenched up. And your jaw is really tight. And you don't know why. But it's that extra tension, all this stuff that we carry around all day. And that stuff affects us. It affects the way we communicate with each other. It affects the way we look at the world. It affects the way we fight for freedom. And all these different ventures that we take throughout our day and our existence. Let it go. Let it go. We don't need it. And we don't need their lies about Osama bin Laden or anything else. So that article is from the Liberty Beat. You can check that out. I just put it in the script, Zach, if you want to throw it in the chat. And one more I want to end with before we let you go for the night. This is the positive one. And I want to give a hat tip to Mr. Bruce King for making me more aware of the Maharishi University. He's talked about on his show, Lessons in Consciousness, which is on every Wednesday night right here on the Conscious Resistance Network. He talks about the Maharishi University and how they've did studies in DC and other places and were able to measure the effect of large groups of meditation and see crime dropping in those areas and things like that. So after I heard about that, I decided to do some more digging because, well, for all the meditation studies I've ever done, I never heard of them. You can learn new things every day. And they did another study now. And if you didn't know, again, earlier in the week I think I said this is the obvious award of the week, but it's still important. Study says meditation may reduce work-related stress. Oh shit. Taking 5 minutes a day to sit down, and again, I say this every time because I know there's different audience members, but I want meditation, the idea of it, to seem as accessible as possible. So when you hear the word meditation, don't automatically jump to, visions of somebody floating in lotus position and, they've been doing it for 20, 30 years and they're just like blissed out and their chakras are all lit up and there's angels, all around them or whatever, things like that. Because it's not always like that. Sometimes there are, but I will tell you what every, Zen master and there's only been a couple, but I've read or spoke to in person, has said, ignore those things. Ignore them. When you have those crazy visions, that's just more of, we're just spinning our mental wheels, right? Because if all there is this right now, this moment, now, and that's all meditation is about, bringing your awareness back here. So whether you sit down and you face the wall, or you ride your bike for a few minutes a day, or just you sit in your chair in your office and just breathe and just have a couple of moments without Facebook and the internet and text messages and phone calls and all these things. You wonder why I don't have a cell phone? All these things, they build up in you and they cause you to have stress. And like I said, sometimes the stress is we're not even aware of it. It's just there. It's just hanging on us, and it's important to let go of that. So, a new study in the United States suggests that regular meditation may prevent work-related stress and exhaustion. The study was conducted by the Maharishi University Institute for National Medicine and Prevention. Participants reported falling stress levels and more energy within days of practicing transcendental meditation. Now, they're specifically focusing on TM here, but as I said, I think any type of meditative activity, for me, riding my bike is meditative, skateboarding, because that's where I get my thoughts out. Sometimes when I go to sit, I know that my awareness just needs to be cleared, so I just count my breath. And I let those thoughts, when they come, I just let them go. Like Buddha said, like a passing cloud, don't attach to them. But if they keep coming back, then maybe make a note that you need to look into that later. Okay, maybe I should figure out why that keeps popping up. Or maybe you have a time where you just want to sit and you need to think through those things, and you can do that. Other times you might sit down with a specific goal, a positive affirmation that you're just reflecting on, like you're just sitting there and just telling yourself, I'm a powerful human being. I'm getting stronger every day in every way. Things like this that when you say them out loud, you kind of say them sheepishly because you're like, wait, are other people going to think I'm weird? I have infinite potential. You do! Say it! It says on my wall right there. You are infinite potential. Say it out loud. Say it. Say it. Say it. Good. So my point is, there's all kinds of meditation. Zen, Zazen is my particular favorite that I have spent most of my time learning. I've read a bit about transcendental meditation. As I said, my bike is meditation. Going on walks, sometimes having conversations with good people can be meditative. But it's important to create and allow yourself to have that space. 5 minutes a day. You owe it to yourself to give yourself 5 minutes a day even without distractions. And for those of us who are ADD, who do have a million things going on in their mind, and we're planning 3 things at once while we're also wrapping up 4 other things. And then at the same time, I'm probably texting you and then answering a Facebook message and responding to an email. If you're a busy person like that, whether mentally or physically, it's important to just give yourself that space. And as I said, when you go sit down and you're like, well, I'm just not doing it right, my brain doesn't shut up. There is no right. It's whatever it means to you, whatever you need at that moment. So instead, catch yourself in that thinking. Catch yourself in that limiting self-doubt and say, you know what? Maybe today I am good at meditating. Maybe today all I need to do is sit here and think. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to give myself the time to think. I'm just going to close my eyes and sit. And yes, the posture is important because you can think more clearly. This is why when you're slouched over and you're sitting down like this and you're trying to do your homework, you don't get shit done. But then when you actually go to a desk and you sit down in a chair and you can focus, it works. The same thing with meditation. Having that like straight spine, like breathing, it gives you that full. That's another thing for another show, breathing. How many of us aren't really breathing? Do you consciously think about breathing every day? They tell us, oh, breathing just happens naturally. But are they really like boring, shallow breaths? Just like, whatever. I mean, that's the life force. That is life coming into you. And you're only giving yourself a portion of it. I mean, that's a whole other topic. But breathing, posture, all these things are important for meditation. So if you are going to have a sitting meditation, I suggest that. The study was published in the Permanente Journal, and it observed participants' stress levels before and after meditation as well as without meditation. Those who meditated registered lower levels of stress compared to those who did not meditate. And that is also an article I wrote earlier this week for the Liberty Beat, and I'm going to get that to Zach, and he'll share that so you guys can learn more about that and get your meditation on, it's already in there actually, doing good things in your life. So yeah, that's what I got for you today. Short show tonight because I was a little underprepared. I'm editing last week's episode still right now. Like I said, I'm doing multiple things at once here. We'll have that up by the end of the night. I did an interview with John Koppel last week discussing meditation in prison. I think it was a great interview. We covered a lot of topics. He even played some mantras on the show. That was really cool. We had good vibes going off the air. And we got to talk to John Good Vibes about indigenous resistance. So lots of good stuff happening. That'll be up on the YouTube channel tonight or tomorrow. That'll also be on the website. As I said earlier, we've got new articles from Rahul, from Sam, from Bruce, and the team at TCR. And announcement before we get out of here. I mentioned earlier the United We Stand Festival in Los Angeles, California, featuring Ben Swan, Amber Lyons, Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, Luke Radowski, Public Enemy, Mortal Technique, Wu-Tang Clan, all these different people. We have tickets to give away. So if you live in California, you can get to California. If you want to go, over the coming months we're going to be doing different contests, trying to get you involved. This is an interactive broadcast, of course. This is not a one-way conversation. This is you and I learning together. So be sure to look out for that. Also, send in any music you got. We want to continue to grow our artist lineup here and expose you to new music. and any genre. I listen to all kinds of music, so I want to expose you to all kinds of music. And once again, you can find us on theconsciousresistance.com. You can find us at Twitter at theconsciousrn. You can find us on Facebook under The Conscious Resistance. And a big thanks to the Truth Broadcasting Network, the guys at the Rundown Live, Freedom Phalanx Radio Network, Liberty Movement Radio, and Uncorporate Media. Everybody who has stood by myself and this growing team since the beginning. Big, big things on the horizon, and I'm really excited for this. So remember, you can do whatever you want. You can make the world a better place. You can sit on the sidelines. It's your choice. My advice to you, don't keep calm. Go change the world. If you can hear this, you are the resistance. Peace.
That's why we on the front lines and we deep up in the trenches. When they speak into the presence, we don't believe a single sentence. We don't need them for protection, we can see through their deception. From hidden ancient artifacts to futuristic missiles, the world will continue.